We are now live.
Fantastic.
All right, now we gotta wait for some people, or unless we want to just start.
Let's wait like 5 or 6 minutes for people.
Yeah, wait a few minutes.
So how's your day?
Can you hear me still?
Yeah. Let me turn off the music right there.
We have one person watching so far. That's good.
Send
I'm
the link
excited to
to
do
the
this.
live stream to the chat.
Well, it's on my YouTube channel. All people have to do is click on my YouTube channel, and then they'll see it.
Yeah, but send the link to the Hangouts chat so we can have everyone in the Hangouts watching it.
Oh, okay, hold up.
Because like if more people are watching, it might bring more people in. I can see a chat. That's the private chat. What's the comment? Like live viewer comment shop and StreamYard.
All right, I sent the link in the chat. Yeah, I can't edit the thumbnail until after the stream ends. So.
It's whatever.
Either way, it won't really matter.
Yeah. So who's watching right now?
I don't have anyone right now.
Oh, but did you say someone joined?
Someone did. They viewed it and then they left. I'm saying though, we can just start talking about it because this is going to be a video people can watch afterwards. Either way.
Or if you want to start it, you can.
Live. We just have it live so people can comment if they want to. But this is going to be a video anyone can watch anyway. So, hey guys, Spookybones224 here. I'm here with
Spookybones224.
And no one's going to call you that. Everyone's just going to say Spooky. Imagine if everyone had this. It's like, to be fair, people call me Pacific Goji 94 too, not just Pacific Goji, but we're just specific. I really don't care. Anyway, we are. You guys don't have profile pictures. Yeah, we're aware. I don't know why it won't let me set that up, but we're just white circles. We have our names though, at least, so that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Wait, why did it say guest? I don't know what that is. Okay. So me and Spooky today are going to be talking about Shin Godzilla and why, well, not why he's so overrated, but why he shouldn't be ranked as high as people like to think he is in terms of power. Because he's not really that powerful of an incarnation of Godzilla. He is not.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think he is. So, do you want to start with talking about the misconceptions with Shin? Or do you want to just start with talking about his power? Alex, we're aware.
Do you wanna start talking about his like general stats? If you want to sit there?
Yeah, sure. You go first then.
Okay. So, like overall stats, he would scale relative to town to city level plus because he was able to destroy multiple large buildings and city blocks with relative ease with his beam. So a low ball, he'd be like town level. Mid ball would be like large city, like not large city, it'd be like city level, sea level plus. And then high ball would be like large city plus or whatever. His durability would be the same as his AP due to Newton's third law. But yeah, that's most of his overall stats.
Right. I want to get into just misconceptions because a lot of people have the idea that Shin Godzilla is this super powerful, invincible being when he's not. And like, for example, like his region, a lot of people like to say that Shin Godzilla can regenerate and overcome any foe.
Yeah.
That's not true. especially with the evolution thing, where people like how I said earlier today. I saw somebody on Twitter post saying that Shin Godzilla could beat Godzilla Earth if they were the same
Which no,
size, and that
no.
is not true. Shin Godzilla would not be able to beat him at all. And
He wouldn't be able to beat a lot of Godzillas if we're being real here. Mainly because the massive attack potency difference is that like the thing about Shin's evolution is that one, it's not instant, and two, he can't overcome any foe because of the power like difference is so great that like it's just like him compared to the other fighters is like an ant compared to a human being. He won't be able to evolve instantly to
not
close the
only that, but
gaps.
for Shin to evolve to take on something, he has to experience it first. For example, the bunker bombs that hit him in the back, he had to experience that first to evolve into the form being able to fire his atomic breath. So let's say you have
Hmm.
someone like Godzilla Earth, Godzilla 94, any kind of Godzilla except for a couple, them attacking him, he would not be able to already be able to defeat them and destroy them and just no, he wouldn't. He would not be able to adapt that quickly until he takes it. And most damage that he
Yeah,
would take would kill him from another Godzilla.
yeah, he get
Because if
one shotted by
bunker
most.
because if bunker bombs landing on him were enough to make him bleed that much, yes, he evolved afterwards because they weren't powerful enough to just destroy him. They're not pow- He's not strong enough to withstand, let's say, even like Godzilla 2014's atomic breath. I don't think he would be able to just completely be fine, adapt to it after it. I don't think it would destroy him, but it would do a lot more damage than people like to give it credit for.
The only reason why people say that 2014's Atomic Breath is weak is because it looked like a fire extinguisher. That's literally their only argument, saying that it's weak. When in reality, we see an Awakening, which is canon by the way, that his beam can literally like eviscerate and atomize like other kaiju. So for example, the Shinomura, where you'd have to destroy every single cell for it to die. So you can literally just argue that 2014's Atomic Breath could cauterize Shin if it hits him and like vaporize him.
I think it could because a lot of people also like to say that it was weak because of when 2014 fired it on the female Muto and it wasn't like put a hole through her or incinerate her or anything like that. But then that also comes into another topic that we had at one point would could the Mutos beat Shin Godzilla? And what do you think on that?
I'd say yes, due to them scaling either above or relative to 2014, which survived the Permian extinction, which is casually a country level feat. So like and Mooses were able to damage Godzilla and take hits from him, so they'd be either relative or greater because they were about to kill him in 2014.
Yeah, exactly. I don't personally think that the Muto would be able to, or wouldn't be able to, but I don't know. On Shin Godzilla, I personally just I don't see him beating the Mutos, like especially if they're two of them. One on one, maybe the male, maybe, but I
Yeah, I think he'd be able to beat the male.
it just comes into the I just the way people say that he adapts so quickly. He doesn't. He does not adapt very quickly. The biggest argument I always hear people say is the one we just talked about on Shin Godzilla adapts to every situation he's in, so he would not be able to die. He'd be able to regenerate and adapt to it when in turn he won it because the only reason he was able to adapt was from experiences that he was having. For example, like we said, the
Yeah,
bunker bomb one. Another one is at the end, towards the end of the movie with Shin Godzilla, was the planes, jets, and all those kind of things firing on him. Because he was experiencing that, he was able to go and adapt to it, and that's when the whole tail beam comes in, so that he's able to fight off against it better. But he has a
yeah,
recharge time, which a lot of people don't consider.
yeah. The recharge time's like what, like a day, right? Or like a couple hours before he can fire his beam again.
I think the first one was a day. Either way, it's way longer than any other monster has for recharge time. And it's not just the fact that it's atomic breath, it's each new ability he would have some kind of recharge time until his body gets used to it. It's like when he evolved from the Kamada Kun or whatever it's called, the first form, or is it second? The
Yeah,
second form. Second form into the third form, uh he had to run straight to the water because even though he evolved, his body was not able to deal with the temperature rising in his body, so he needed to go to the water, cool off in order to evolve a way to sustain himself. So, given
Hmm.
that methodology of for Shin to be able to survive any situation that he gets attacked from, or for him to evolve any situation, he has to survive it. And we've already
Hmm.
talked about his durability not being that high. He does not have high durability. I mean, you look at any incarnation of Godzilla versus a bunker bomb, none of them really take that much damage. I mean, 2014 alone, like you said, was able to survive. Or no, what'd you say it's 2019? Yeah, 2019, for example, in the comic with the Muto Prime,
Yeah.
was able to survive having his spines like completely shattered and everything. Relatively okay. And even in the King
Yeah.
of the Monsters movie,
He
falling
fell
from
from
that height where I
space.
adored
Yeah.
the upper atmosphere. Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
And
Luby's right. It's pretty obvious that Shin as an organism is not meant to fight. He's not.
yeah, I think Shin as an incarnation of Godzilla, he's a good incarnation. He's one of my favorite designs. He's one of my favorite Godzilla movies, but he's just not
Yeah,
that
same.
strong. And what people like to do is it's kind of like the thing. It's kind of like how people view Madara in his first fight with in Naruto. They see him fight against like all these people, and it's a super cool fight. So they automatically think, yeah, he can beat like adult Naruto or adult Sakura or something. When in reality, if you look at like the facts and the feats, no, that doesn't work like that. And I think what a lot of people like to do is what I call demanning, where basically just because you like the movie Shin Godzilla or like a movie or a show, and yeah, like Shin Godzilla's the strongest or this character's the strongest because I like this show better and he does this really cool feat, which like it
Yeah,
doesn't really work like that.
you can't base it just on a visual like example. Like Shin Godzilla in the movie. Another topic we can talk about is his atomic breath. A lot of
Hmm.
people, like for example, I was in a live stream with Gabe Zilla and a guy named Gyro Productions was commenting, and he was saying for Shin, all it would take was one shot to beat like 2014. The thing is, people highball his atomic breath way more than they really should. Now, I'm not saying that his atomic breath is just completely weak. It's not dangerous. I'm not saying that, but it's not really reliable. In the movie, he uses the beam more as a thing for self-defense rather than for offense. It's more of a defensive attack, and it has a cooldown time that makes him vulnerable. That's why he used it as a
Hmm.
defensive attack in the first place.
Yeah.
Even in the second scene when he's having the atomic breath with the spines, the tail, and his mouth, he's only using it to combat all of the planes that are flying at him. He doesn't really use it to attack a lot of things. I mean, to be fair, he didn't attack anything in the movie, but
Yeah.
I think a reason why people think it's so strong is just because of the visual uh, display that happened with it. The beam being able to slice through all the buildings and the way it looked, being like a new CGI movie, how pretty it looked, I guess you could say, or how cool it looked.
Yeah.
That's why people think it's so overpowered.
It's the visual medium. It's because it's like the thing I brought up with like Madara. Yeah. People just think Madara is strong because he beat a bunch of people. When in reality, if you look at the feats and whatnot,
When,
he gets stomped by like adult soccer or something like that. Same thing works like that for Shin as well. Yeah, it's
yeah, I
crazy.
completely agree. Shit, adult soccer. That's funny. I feel like I want to get into the misconceptions more because that's like the biggest thing that people have with it. Like,
Shin debaters, yeah.
so I love Shin debaters. So we talked about his durability not being very high. That's the first thing. We talked about that. So in any fight, like again, let's put him against 2019 or 2014, Legendary Godzilla.
Hmm.
Durability
Yeah.
wise, we talked about Shin's durability not being that strong. Then we countered he could evolve at every turn by no, he couldn't. He can only evolve for what he can survive. And you look at something like 2019 speeds,
Yeah.
2014 speeds with the Shinomura or anything, all of those attacks are stronger than what Shin's durability is in the movie. So that's already out. Next would be attack
Yeah.
potency.
So he'd
Shin
get one
Godzilla,
shot.
like we talked, yeah. Next is attack potency, which when we talked about it, we talked about how Shin, his beam and power is basically around city block level. Now, that's shown by him destroying all those buildings with his beam. And his beam is pretty hot. It's able to cut through the buildings like pretty much butter. And steel has a melting point of, 2,750 degrees Fahrenheit or 1,520 degrees Celsius. And he's able to melt through all of that. And the range of Tokyo City, the beam does have a very fast speed to it, and it does have a very long range.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
a
give it
fast
that.
beam.
It's like Shin's Fire Blast. The scene takes place, to my knowledge, in Tokyo City. And Tokyo City is roughly around, around 847 square miles in diameter. And when he does this Fire Blast, it pretty much spreads within the city in around 19 seconds. And for that to happen, his Fire Blast would need to be traveling around Mach 3 or like Mach 2.8 to be exact. And the highly condensed form, when he sprays it across the city, cuts through about half of Tokyo City, which is about 423 and a half miles, in order to, that's how far it can cut. And the thing is, it does have long range and it does have a very quick speed. But the power it outputs in comparison to other Godzillas, I'm not saying Shin is the weakest Godzilla. I don't think he's the weakest Godzilla, but I think people overpower him. And my main thing on that is the 2014 versus Shin. A lot of people like to compare those two. I still can't believe someone.
Which is interesting because
anime Godzilla.
Because I've debated a lot of people about 2014 versus Shin. Yeah, I debated. I think King Kong 19100 on 2014 versus Shin, and like his argument was, yeah, he just aim for the gills and shoot him once and he die, which the gill anti feat can get debunked in like one claim. So in the beginning of the movie, 2014 serves a nuke hitting him hitting his back, and he tanks the entire force of the nuke basically. And if he was able to get hurt by a tank shot to the gills, it wouldn't really make sense because a nuke would kill him then. He's more or less annoyed rather than hurt by the tank shell, if you understand what I'm saying.
No, I do.
So saying that 2014 would get, yeah, it's kind of like saying saying 2014 would get hurt by Shin's beam if it hit him in the neck. It probably would. You can argue that that it could hurt him, but it's not really a good argument. Just by the feats and what 2014 shown, even in the movie only, he would outscale Shin in both AP and everything.
Right, I agree with that. And Gojira Wars went and said it's not meant to fight, but it's meant to survive at all costs. It's perfectly evolved to be able to adapt and overcome any obstacle in the way of its survival. I wouldn't say any obstacle. Like we said earlier, it's only able to adapt to obstacles that it doesn't immediately pretty much destroy it. For example, as we said before, the bunker bombs. That was not powerful enough to completely vaporize him or put him out of commission, so he's able to evolve for that. Now, nuke didn't hit him in the gills when
the Hawk
MUTO hit him in his neck. He's visibly bled.
Yeah, but the Hawk MUTO scales directly to him, so they're either equal or he's even greater than 2014 because he was able to damage him.
I wouldn't say he was greater in 2014. I'd say he probably scales equal to him or a little less. I don't think they're
relative fighters.
But I think they scale a little less. They're relatively around the same, considering that throughout the entire fight, throughout the movie, the MUTOs pretty much weren't killed. Even when the female was getting stomped and everything, she wasn't bleeding or dying or anything. She was getting beaten up, but she wasn't pretty much dying. But in terms of melee, let's say 2014 grabbing onto Shin, biting him and stuff, I don't think he'd be able to kill him with that. I will say that I do think Shin is resilient enough
to tear him to pieces.
Yeah, but considering each piece, the way 2014, in my opinion, would have to kill Shin is I don't think any of Shin's attacks would really do a lot of damage to 2014. And when 2014 would basically just tear Shin apart, he would have to pretty much blast and incinerate every piece. Kind of like a Majin Buu situation. Because even in the film, in the one deleted scene that was shown, a piece that was falling off was growing into another Shin Godzilla. So if any piece of him survives, like a Majin Buu thing, it can, regrow into another Shin, basically. So for him to be able to defeat Shin, he would have to destroy him. But I'm not talking about his resilience. He is a very resilient Godzilla incarnation, probably one of the most resilient because of what it would take to kill him. But it's not a sense of power. It's a sense of honestly just I don't want to say determination, but it's a sense of just perseverance, constantly doing something over and over. It doesn't have to be challenging in the sense that it's powerful. It's challenging in the sense that it just takes a while because you have to do it piece by piece to make sure he's dead. It's not like a normal animal where you just stab it in the heart and it's dead. Although that is something that I thought at first, but then again, in the movie, he can regrow from literally nothing. The MUTOs are both less, but combined they were able to
But
take
the
him on
thing
and
is that
turn
like
tides against Godzilla with relatively ease. Yeah, I agree with that. They
that's
were.
fair.
That's why the
That's
MUTOs
understandable.
aren't exactly weak. They're not weak kaiju. I mean, in Godzilla 2014's universe, they're strong enough together to overpower 2014. On their own, they're a little bit weaker than 2014. And 2014 is stronger than Shin, and honestly, the MUTOs are probably stronger than Shin too. In terms of
Yeah,
durability,
because
I'm
the
not sure
MUTOs
on
like
the
they would
male
have
MUTO at least.
male MUTO. I think 20. I think Shin would beat the male MUTO like on a 1-on-1, but not like a 2-on-2 and anything.
That's what I think. I don't think the male MUTO is as powerful as Shin. I think the female is, but I don't think the male is because durability wise, I mean, the male was able to get his neck pierced with a building spike. Like, I don't, and that's just a piece of steel. So I don't think that a steel beam. But like I said, with killing Shin, it would mainly be just perseverance. But I don't think Shin would be able to put up a fight against 2014. Really, everyone overhypes Shin so much. He is. It's not exactly a weak kaiju, but a lot of people put him in versus scenarios when he's not meant to be a fighter. Like Gojira said, he's a creature built to survive, not built to dominate. We can't really compare the human form of Shin that a lot of what's going to happen at the end of the movie because we don't see anything of it. We could be hypothetical and say, oh, well, if we have thousands of these things, but that's hypothetical. It's not something that we can just prove with any statements, facts, guidebooks, anything. The issue with trying to destroy Shin with sheer brute force like Legendary would likely try every new piece torn away, this member would eventually be able to grow into a Shin. Yeah, exactly. So in order for you to defeat Shin, you would have to
Yeah,
have just a lot of perseverance and determination and be knowing what you're doing. But beating
but the
Shin
thing is about
in
2014.
like
Oh, you go first. You go first.
oh no, I was gonna say it's basically what we said. It's essentially Majin Buu scenario. If you've seen Dragon Ball, Majin Buu. He literally can be vaporized, but pieces of him remain. He grows into a new, back to normal. Although with Shin, it would take a much longer process than that, but still, it's essentially destroy every piece he's done. So, like 2019
Yeah, but
Burning, for
the thing is about
example, would slap.
yeah, base
You can,
29 like
you can.
base 2014 would beat him as well. But the thing about Legendary Godzilla is that he's already dealt with a character or with a kaiju that's even more that I would argue even more dangerous than Shin, and that is the Shinomura. Because Shinomura can regenerate to his full size if only one cell remains, and he was able to kill every single cell on the creature itself by using his beam. So his beam is able to vaporize stuff. So you could argue hypothetically that 2014's beam, if it hit Shin, it could vaporize him.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, Gojira brought up a good point. Shin's photon rays would be hot enough to penetrate Muto's skin. Because 2014, the movie, he is weakened because the Mutos generally,
Yeah, they have an
what is it? They
EMP
generate like
effect.
a field. Yeah.
Yeah, and it drains his
So Shin would be
energy.
more than able. Yeah, I could see that. So we talked about Shin's
Wait,
durability.
2014's
We
breath and
talked
weakened
about
Steph
his.
was able to cinch Mito's skin. But the thing is about Shin is that Shin wouldn't fire his beam off straight away, and that since what's it called their EMP field that would weaken his beam even more, and they would just feed off him as a source of radiation.
That is another thing, considering Shin is basically a walking reactor. I mean, it's like, isn't it
And
that
since they
his
feed
body
off
has
reactors,
nuclear fission constantly running in him?
yeah. So putting him up against the MUTOs is kind of like putting up a pack of wolves against a dying bison. You know, the bison's strong. If the bison hits the wolves, they probably kill the wolves. But the thing about the wolves, they're gonna be hungry, and they can. The bison's dripping blood and it's just dying basically, and yeah, it's a horrible analogy, but
That
like
is.
the MUTOs feed off
I'm like, what
radiation,
the hell?
so if a walking reactor's there, so the reactor would basically just be they would be hungry. So I don't know. I didn't really know how to articulate that point at all. Um,
Basically, the Shin Godzilla probably could defeat. I think one-on-one Shin would have a chance to do it.
yeah,
Both
one
of
on
them
one.
together, I don't think Shin would stand a chance.
Yeah, if it's like 2-on-1, the MUTOs would stomp.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Um,
So we talked about his attack potency. We talked about his defense. We talked about his regeneration. We talked about his damage output. I think we already talked about that. And then we were
yeah,
scaling
talk
him
about
in
his AP and what.
2014. So what else should we talk about on Shin?
Do you want to get
We're
down
already
to
at
the
26
questions?
minutes, believe it or not.
Do you want to get to the questions
Sure.
now?
So
You have plenty of questions.
yeah, we can cover a couple of them. Because most of this, like we did, could the MUTOs beat Shin? Yeah. Could 2014 beat Shin? Yes. What? Here's a good one. Shin versus Legendary equal stats. So 2014 or 2019?
Yeah, this one's interesting. Let's do 2019. At abilities as further proven at the end of the film,
I have to use the
when his
bathroom real
beam
quick.
charges up and is shown to have decreased several days to only a few minutes. That is a fair point, Gojira Wars. Shin versus stats. I'll wait for Sip to get back, so in the meantime I'll do Shin versus the adult Clover. I think all Godzillas could beat the adult Clover pretty easily, because the adult Clover was able to get hurt by tanks and bullets. So Shin would really just have to like fire his beam once, and it would kill the adult Clover. And size wouldn't really be a factor in anything, because if like, cause like if you're massive, but like you get hurt by an ant biting you against someone who can like basically just tank shots from like shotguns and stuff, you wouldn't really be able to hit him. All right, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. In addition, he no longer needs to go through phases of his atomic breath in the final scene in order to use it again. So his charge time is shown to have dramatically increased. Yeah, that is another fair point as well. Yeah, but the thing is that if Shin fired his beam, you'd have to wait just like a few minutes and whatnot.
Okay, I'm back. And even so, I was listening in though still. Even so, with Shin's recharge rate going down, the issue is that against, let's say, Legendary, that doesn't really affect him because Legendary's beam, as you saw in King of the Monsters, he fires it off constantly. Has no issue with it or anything. And that already does more damage than Shin's body is able to withstand durability wise. It wouldn't really matter in a fight with him.
Mm-hmm. So the equal stats, I do think it can go either way if it's equal stats, because the main thing is that Shin won't fire his beam straight away. I think that's a dumb argument for both versions of Godzilla. He won't fire his beam straight away. If Shin was like Heisei Godzilla, he just fires his beam whenever, like, when he feels like it. Yeah, but the only time Shin fires his beam is kind of like how 2019 used to do it, as like a last resort. I do think if Shin lands like a direct hit onto like his head or something, that it would do significant damage to him. But the thing about Shin is like Shin would fire his beam, and if 2014, like if it doesn't hit any vital spots that 2014 would instantly die from, then I think 2014 would or Legendary would still win, because he was able to fight a kaiju that's stronger than both the MUTOs and was beating him significantly And while he had his entire back like just broken open, he's bleeding everywhere in the aftershock.
Yeah, and the thing with equal stats, honestly, I think though that I would actually give it to Shin if they were equal stats, and the reason for that is kind of just the amount of hacks Shin can have. Now if it's just a
Mm-hmm.
singular Shin versus 2014, like once the regular Shin's beaten or whatever, it's done, then 2014. But in terms of
Yeah.
equal stats in a sense of like Shin can still regenerate or like clone himself basically as much as he can do. In terms of a long drawn out fight, I think 2014 might be overpowered, but because
Yeah. If it's
eventually
equal
he would
stats,
be able to,
definitely.
because equal stats, he wouldn't be able to destroy Shin as quickly, which means that he would have to take more energy to do it. And
Yeah.
I don't think it would be I don't think it would be like a wash. Shin would just dominate or anything like that. But I do think Shin would have a lot
I
better
think it's
chance doing it with equal stats.
yeah, it's more important towards Shin's favor. Which is the only way I really see Shin being legendary is in an equal stats like field.
That should bring us into another one. Is that I love how one of the questions we wrote down is Shin Godzilla the strongest Godzilla? By this point, everyone should know he's not. But that does segue
Yeah.
into another thing, which is what Godzillas could Shin beat?
That's interesting because I think because there's two different Showa Godzillas. There's 54 and then there's 55 to 75, if I'm correct, right? So
54, I
Showa
don't
his
think
period
would win.
ends.
I think everyone
Yeah,
would
54,
agree. 54.
54 we get stomped. Yeah,
Oh, and real quick, we're saying
I
them
think
as the same size scale. So, like, we're not having, like, 54 beat to, like, Shin Godzilla's knee or anything like that. We're having same
yeah, that's
size.
dumb.
Because then
Yeah, but I think
Showa
54
would
would get
lose.
slapped by the thing about Showa is that Showa's scaling would place him at country level, or like definitely above city level because he tanks multiple nukes and whatnot. And Ghidorah was able to um, wipe an
Plan it
entire
out.
planet. But yeah, but we didn't really get a time frame for how fast he did it. But and there is an argument that Showa Godzilla has light speed reaction time. Due in one of the guidebooks that he said Mechagodzilla's beam was condensed light, and I think it was the first versus Mechagodzilla film. He was able to dodge the beam like twice. So you can have the argument that Shin might have higher AP, which I don't think he would. Just that Showa Godzilla, one, would be faster, and two, would be able to react to his beam
Yeah, that's another thing.
due to
Shin Godzilla has very slow reaction time. I don't know if anyone's noticed that, but Shin is not exactly built to do quick attacks and quick reactions. He doesn't really do that in the film.
mhm.
Um, but I think Showa has an edge, but it's not a giant edge. It's not like
Yeah.
2019 versus Shin, not equal stats. It's not like a wash like that, but I do think he has a slight edge.
Pigeon's more into Infinite Godzilla on Instagram. He's more into Showa scaling than I am. Or I think both of us. He's more well versed into Showa scaling.
Yeah, we tried
So
to
if you
get
have any
him in here,
questions about
but
Showa
he was
scaling,
busy.
he wasn't available. Yeah. But I think Shin would be able to beat 2000 pretty easily because 2000 doesn't really do anything that powerful. You know.
Yeah, 2000 is. I think when we were talking about Millennium Godzillas, I think that we said that 2000 was the weakest. Or was it GMK?
Yeah. It should be 2000.
Because
It's
GMK
either
is
2000 or
actually
GMK.
not exactly the. It's pretty weak too, to be honest.
Yeah, because
Because
the
he's
thing
not
about
like.
GMK is that he did survive a nuclear blast, and I think his first time he fired atomic wreck caused a nuclear blast, so he would bare minimum be city level. Just I think GMK would be above 2000 because he's one a better fighter, and two I think he's more versatile. Think about 2000, like 2000 is really having like important feats that he does. Did he even survive the Auction Destroyer? Well, the thing about the Auction Destroyer
No,
is
because they reset the
any
movie in the next thing. Like, it was
yeah. So
2000
the thing
and
about
they
the
reset it
Auction
in mega
Destroyer, like
years.
using it, the thing about the Auction Destroyer scaling and stuff is that you can't you don't really know how powerful an oxygen destroyer would be in real life, like what it could destroy. It does say in 54 that it would destroy the entire city, right, for Tokyo,
Yeah.
if my memory, yeah. So, but saying that all oxygen destroyers are bare minimum city level would be kind of dumb because we don't really see them used that often besides outside the original. And I think
I
the
mean, it was
Heisei
used
timeline too.
in King of the Monsters. They used a version of it, which
Yeah, but like that didn't really
wiped out
do
a.
anything.
I mean, it destroyed animals like like fish, sea life, and weakened Godzilla a tremendous amount. But even so, the Oxygen Destroyer
Yeah,
doesn't really have a part in Shin versus 2000.
at
Um,
all.
I think the only Godzilla incarnations that would downright just lose to Shin would be 54, 98,
2000.
and
Definitely 98.
98's the weakest, obviously, but
Yep.
died
Yeah,
by like 6
2000.
missiles or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Died to missiles.
died to like 3 plane missiles. Um, and for like, okay, everything in Heisei slaps Shin. Nothing from Heisei loses to Shin.
Yeah.
Showa 54 loses to Shin. The rest of them could go either way. I think. I think Shin. Like we said, Showa has a slight edge. Millennium
I'd
2000
have to
and Mega
consult on Pigeon for that.
Pigeon for Showa.
Yeah.
2000 probably loses. The Mega Gearus one though doesn't lose because he was able to withstand a black hole, so durability
Yeah.
alone. And then
His durability would be way too high.
GMK. I think GMK would win. I think
You think
because I
so?
mean he was potent. I'm not sure because I'm not sure what GMK's power, like what his scale would be at, like
Because
in
his
terms of
beam, when he
his.
first fired it, was like it created a nuclear blast. So if you want to go off that and see his beams like city level, it means he would be city level.
And that
So
just
they
comes down
are.
to his
I mean,
durability, which, to be fair, a drill was able to penetrate through his skin pretty easily. I mean, yeah, it was inside of him, but still.
hmm
I think that one was also kind of a 50-50 one, but because it also
yeah.
did reaction time, and I think GMK had a pretty decent reaction time. I mean, he was able to react to
I
Mothra
think
without
Shin has
flying
a
behind him.
faster. Um, I think Shin has a faster reaction time, mainly because
Really?
he was able to react and close his eye fast enough. Like you remember that one scene, like the mortars hit his eye. He's
Oh,
able to
right,
close it
right.
fast enough for it even exploded.
Yeah, true. That is a pretty fast reaction time. Yeah, okay. In that case, I give GMK versus Shin. I give that to Shin.
Yeah, like Shin would have been
Um,
like mid to high difficulty.
all right. Then 2002, 2003.
Um, I don't really know about that because apparently Kiryu is like island level because due to the absolute zero cannon. But I don't really know because if Kiryu's like island level and Godzilla was able to stalemate Kiryu and like trade blows, I mean he would make him island level as well. So just sheer
If he's island level,
AP and
then
durability, yeah, he just fucking stomp.
yeah, I agree with that. And then Final
2004 get
Wars would win. Final Wars is
he's not even
overpowered. He would.
not even not even the argument there. Um, Anime
2014
Godzilla
we
he
talked about.
stomps. Yeah,
Anime
same thing with
Godzilla
2019.
stomps. 2018.
Yeah,
That's it.
the only version that
So
we haven't seen yet is Godzilla Singular Point, which that doesn't come out till next April. So
yeah. So I think that kind of wraps up our talk on how strong Shin is. He's not exactly weak, but
um
he's city level.
yeah.
He's a lot weaker than all the other Godzillas. He has very high. He has quick reaction speed in the sense of like things that penetrate around him, such as the thing with his eye.
hmm
Durability wise, he's not very durable.
Same
Attack
with AP.
potency.
It's not really that
Okay,
strong.
but yeah,
The thing is,
I
like,
think that
yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
and perfect because they're at the 40-minute mark. So
Yeah.
that being said,
So what's our next one gonna be?
our next one's going to be Space Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Understandable.
That was going to be fun to do. Again, this is gonna be a
Yeah.
video people are gonna be able to watch. Like once it finishes, the stream finishes, I'll be able to put the thumbnail on it and stuff, and it'll just be a normal video.
Okay.
So now we're at 40 minutes. With that being said, I actually gotta get going afterwards, so this is perfect timing. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll have more discussions like this in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for watching, and catch you all in the
All right.
next
See you
video.
guys later.
Bye bye.